I've got my glasses on today. It means this series is not going to be easy. I'm going to be talking about all the exams you would require to take that will make you eligible to practice in the UK as a nurse. I'm equally going to share with you the costing of this entire program. You do not want to miss out on this one. Today is gonna be a very, very serious series that I feel like we need to do some dance moves a little bit, before when something serious is about to happen. We need to lighten up. So come on, if you get just put on some dance move before we get into the serious matter. I'll see you in the series, guys. Hello guys, and welcome to series 2 of my Nursing and Midwifery Council NMC UK Journey series. The last skill which will be assessed on is speaking skills. Okay, I think this is another one which is, not difficult, it's easy, but it's just tricky. Because we, like I said before, when I was talking about listening, we all have different attenuations to words. We pronounce words in different ways. Our accents are different. So I think most countries or nurses who come from overseas, especially from India or the Philippines, they've shared this concern. It's like over and over again with their accent. They might not really get to pick up what the examiner is saying, or the examiner might not pick up what they are saying. So it still brings me back to the aspect of practicing before. Get your words right, get your words straight. So just like the writing, they want to say how good you are, how much you can use, your use of words as far as English language is concerned. It's not just basic everyday English. They want to see if you're able to use, English to some extent, some standard. That is what it entails. I would advise you, before you take on an exam like this one, you're going to have a read, you're going to go through, and you're going to study. So once you launch this, like once you start this and you're ready to have a go with this exam, of course you're going to do some pre-reading and all, which is very important. And even if you're not ready to take the exam yet, then I encourage you to just have a read about these skills and all the various things that they require, so you can be aware of this. And then when you're ready to take the exam, at least you know what you are getting into. So that's the last part, which is the speaking. Now, one thing to note is this exams, sometimes you have to do the speaking first and then you do all the other three after, or you have to do all the other three first and then you do the speaking part last. So that's basically it. And with the speaking, just to emphasize, it's going to be you and an examiner. So you need to get your courage on the right side. You need to be confident. You need to boost your confidence. It is very important. You're going to be sitting in front of an examiner. He or she is going to ask you a series of questions and you are expected to answer. And the speaking test is equally for a specific period or amount of time, So you need to practice. You can do a peer-to-peer speaking practice. I did this almost every day of my life. Sometimes I just call someone, all right, I want to share this story with you and I want you to listen keenly, especially people I knew had like a good master of English. My mom, oh, she was awesome. She's an English teacher, English literature teacher as well. So she was able to like guide me through some of these things. So you can do that. Like just call someone. I want to, share this story with you. Just listen, and you can correct me if I go wrong. And I want to share this story with you within 1 minute. You just set a target for yourself. You can do self-recording, like you do your speaking exercise or practice at home by yourself. You record it, and then you listen to yourself and you evaluate. Put yourself in the place of the examiner and ask yourself, if I was the examiner listening to this, how will I grade myself? How am I going to grade myself? So this is very important. So that is it. These 4 skills. Now, what score do you need? A lot of things have changed, or well, something has changed as far as the scores are concerned. First, where it was required that you're going to have like a band 7 on all of these 4 skills. So 7 in writing, 7 in reading, 7 in speaking, and 7 in listening, and above, of course. But 7 was like the minimum you were expected to have. So with all petitions going around, had to sign a lot of petitions, and there was a plea for the NMC to like grant access to nurses who have a 6.5 in writing. Remember, I said that was one of the most tricky ones. So if you have a 6.5 in writing, you are eligible. So your results are valid, and you need 6.5 in writing and 7 and above. 7 and above is good, but 7 is the minimum in all the other 3 skills. Right. So, like, of course, guys, there are other ways of proving your English skills. For example, there are other exams. There is another exam you can write, what we call the OET, but this exam is not present like in some countries. There are specific countries where you can actually do this exam. So that's where it might become a challenge for some other people. Now, these 2 exams are really, some people have made comparisons. Maybe the IELTS is better, the OET is better, but I would say it really has to do with the choice of preference, because some have written the IELTS many times and they didn't make it. Once they went to do the OET, they made it. Others have written the OET many times, they haven't made it, but once they get to the IELTS, they've made it just on their first attempt. So it really depends. All just really depends on which one you think you want to take. But because the OET is not present in many countries, or in some countries, then the IELTS is the most probable option. And just to encourage you guys, like I said, you can make this exam in your first attempt, but there are other people who have had to write IELTS like up to 8 times. I mean, like, no jokes at all, up to 8 times before they have succeeded. I mean, this is what I call determination and the goal backing. Your goal. Like, when you think of where you want to be, what you want to do, I mean, there is no stopping. There's nothing stopping you from getting there. So people have written 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. I mean, right up to the 8th time, and they've made it, and they've gone through the program, and they've come to the UK. So if you have to write as 1 time and you get discouraged, you feel like, oh, I want to give up. I wouldn't say that's a good start. If you write the first time and for some reason you didn't get up to the required score, give it another shot, give it a second go. I mean, just try to identify where the error came from and give it another go, and rest assured that you're gonna get it. There are other ways as well. For example, people of proving your English skills, people who were trained in English speaking countries, they do not need to write IELTS or the OET. All they need to prove is their training was in English, all their exams are in English, and the university they trained in was an English university. So I think that's another way, but this is strictly for English speaking countries. So there is a full list of what you would consider as, or the countries you would consider as an English speaking country. One of the other things I would like to talk about is the cost of the IELTS and how long it is valid for. So if you write as, it is valid for 2 years. So let's say you've had the eyes, you've traveled abroad. Now you can use it for up to 2 years. Some of you might come to the UK and you maybe want to go to school, or you want to do some other thing that might a short course or something that might require you to just show proof of your English skills. Now you, as long as it's within the 2 years frame from the time when you wrote the hours, then you're very eligible to use that as certificate. And for the NMC program, it is 2 years. So after 2 years, your ass is considered expired and you cannot use it any longer. And if you have to, maybe if you didn't scale through, and for some reason you said, okay, let me leave this for a while and I'll come back to it later, then you'll have to write the hours again. The other thing is the cost, which is £230, and the equivalent, you convert that in your own currency equivalent. For Cameroon is going to be about 170,000 francs. So that's the cost for writing your hours. So that is it about us, guys. You know the cost, you know how long it's valid for, and you know what you are expected to see as far as the hours test is concerned. Now let us go to the CBT part of it. Now CBT is a computer-based test which has to do with it's basically about nursing skills, nursing practice. The thing about the CBT is we've all trained in different countries, and what we're going to see in that exam is actually I think the basic of it is UK standard nursing practice. That is why with the CBT you really need to diversify your study materials. You don't need to rely maybe just on nursing in context based in your country. So you need to diversify and try to read materials that have to do with the nursing practice in the UK. And one of the materials which a lot of people would recommend or would actually to read, you've got the Royal Marsden. Is such a very huge book, but you can read all of it. It's just to figure out what you need from it. And you can join study groups as well, which is going to help you understand the content of the questions. You're going to have past questions, which is really going to help you to understand the context. So it guides you through what you should be studying, so you don't read out of line, because some people have actually met this error and it's made them not to pass their CBT on the first attempt. They've read out of line, they've read out of context, they've not focused on what really the CBT is all about, and then they've had this challenge during their exam. But if you read in context, like I've said, this shouldn't be a challenge for you. I mean, everything has been so they've made the process way easier than it used to be. First, the costing of CBT, it used to be as much as close to £100 and more, £100 and more, but now it's been reduced to 83 pounds only, and that is about 61,000 francs in the Cameroon currency. So it's really been simplified. And equally, there used to be like this standard for what pass mark they require. We had things like critical questions, 20 critical questions, and you had to have like 18 out of those critical questions, and you needed a specific like a specific percentage in total to be able for you to be able to declare that pass. But this has really been so modified and simplified. Once you've got now a specific percentage, you're just going to pass your CBT. It's really been simplified. So I want everyone who wants to take on this exam to know that you are able to do it, and yes, you can do it. So the CBT is as simple as that. Once you've done this exam is carried out in Person-View centers, and in Cameroon, this center is in Douala. The center is in Douala. You just need to identify where your center is, and once you've been granted what you should know is you will only be allowed to write this CBT once you've had your eligibility check and you've been assessed as eligible. Then you're gonna get an authorization to take this test in one of the PensionView centers. Now it's a computer-based test. It's going to be done under camera surveillance. You can register for this exam with your national identity card or your passport. When you get to this exam center on your day of your exam, certain rules are going to be given to you, the do's and the don'ts. And this exam is basically for 4 hours, so it's really been simplified. Immediately you leave that exam center, you should be able to get notification if you check on your portal, which you obviously must have created by then. You will be able to see your results, and the results come as a pass or a fail. And within 48 hours, an official confirmation email from the Nursing and Midwifery Council UK will be sent to you. A congratulatory email will be sent to you to actually say, congratulations, you've passed the test of competence. So that is it for the second exam. And the third exam is what we call the structural clinical examination, which is actually done in the UK. So you actually do this exam once you've come to the UK, then you're able to take this exam here. So what happens basically with this exam is, once you've come to the UK, obviously you must have had an employer. They're going to train you for a couple of months, such that you'll be able to take this exam and pass. I think most people, I want to assure you, most people pass on their first attempt. The rule is, once you're in the UK, you need to pass this exam within a certain amount, or within a certain period of time. So your employers make sure they're going to do everything possible to make sure you pass this exam. So really, I can assure you, it's absolutely nothing to worry about. It is a practical exam, like when you are about finishing a semester or rounding up for that year. You as a nurse, you would always go for practical examinations in hospitals and stuff like that. So this is what this is basically about. The other two, the NMC, the CBT exam, is a theory based. The RS obviously is a test of English. That's like a theory based thing. And then the OSCE, as we normally call it, is the practical side of it, where you have to actually do practical skills in front of examiners to be able to show that you're competent enough to practice in the UK. So 3 exams, and those are the 3 exams you would need in total, and all of them are quite passable on your first attempt. I keep repeating this because I want each and every one of us to get the message clear, not to think that you cannot do it or you cannot make it on your first attempt. No, you can. We all can. So now let's talk about the cost. I think this is a very important stage. So if you got pen, a paper, or your booklet, remember, I said get a book where you can always write some of these things in and do like a tick to see if you've got it, you've got all you need. So now let's talk about the cost. So first, I'll talk about the cost of these 2 exams. The ALS, which is about £230, equivalent to about 170,000 francs. You've got the CBT, which is £83, equivalent to about 61,000. You've got the objective structural clinical examination, which is about £794. Equivalent is about 584,000 francs. That's in CFA. You've also got a registration fee which you need to pay, or maybe I'll call it the eligibility fee, which you pay at the beginning when you do your eligibility check, and you actually pay £140, which is equivalent to about 102,000 francs. That's in CFA. Guys, just do your conversion based on your on the country you come from. You've also got the visa application fee, which is about £464, and the equivalent is about 341,000 francs. You've also got like a registration fee. That's a registration fee properly when you're already in the UK. That's like after you've got your you've passed your OSCE, and you pay about £153. Yeah, you pay £153, and the equivalent is about 113,000 francs. Now, an estimate for your flight coming to the UK is about £480, and that's about 353 thousand francs in CFA. You've also got what we call the health insurance, which is about £400, and the equivalent is 295 thousand francs as well. Now, this is basically how much you would have. That's the good news. You would have spent in total if you had to take on this program. Now, total of it in pounds is equivalent is about £2,744. Now, in CFA, it's about 2,168,840 francs. I mean, looking at it in general for a program like this one, I think that's just enough. Like, it's not too much for a program like this one, which is quite straight and forward. But here is the good news. Here comes the good news. So you do not have to pay for all of this. No, you do not have to pay for all of this. What you need to pay for: your IELTS, your CBT, and your eligibility and evaluation fees. So you need to pay 140 pounds for your eligibility fee. You need to pay your 83 pounds for your CBT, and you need to pay your 230 pounds for your IELTS. So these are the three main things. Now, it doesn't mean that's all you're going to spend, but those are the most important things you pay for or you spend for. Now, just some other things along the line. For example, if you have to do a non-conviction, if you have to do some documents, or and then you need to spend on things like that. I mean, that's like the little bits and pieces of the whole process, and not anything heavy or massive. I mean, these three things I've mentioned are really the massive ones. If you have to do a passport, maybe you don't have a passport, those are the little bits and pieces you put together. It is really, I mean, like, I'll say this is the most affordable program I have ever seen, which is straightforward. So I say nobody should take it for granted. Nobody should take it for granted. If you are determined, you can start this program and you would go through like ABC. Now, good news again is, with your CBT, your hours, and your registration for your evaluation fee and eligibility check, you are going to get this money back. I mean, like, that's a sure fact. Most employers here in the UK, when they give you your contract, there is always a part of it that says that all this money spent, your hours, your CBT, and your evaluation fee, is going to be given to you back. You are going to be refunded. So that is enough good news. Like, basically all what you are going to spend is going to come back to you. Who is not going to take this program? I mean, are you still sitting there? You should be on your ass right now. You should be putting your documents together to start this program. I mean, it is as good as you hear it. It is as good as you hear it. I am a benefactor, so I know what I'm talking about. It is as good as you hear it. Now, I know you'll be thinking, what happens to the other monies as calling and all of that? Let me tell you what happens. Most employers in the UK who are going to employ you, they're going to pay for your visa fee. So you take away the visa fee from all that I said at the beginning. They're going to pay your health insurance. You take away that. And the good thing and the good news about the health insurance again is that at the moment, the government is actually revising revising that. So for all of us nurses who will be coming to the UK, good news, guys, that might be scrapped off. Like, you will not need to pay any health insurance again, but you're gonna get your health insurance for free. I mean, this is so wonderful. This is so wonderful. It's on the revision. So if you're already on this program, you're already on the process, you're about coming to the UK. I know some of you might have paid this already, or some of you might still pay it before the full revision takes action. But good news is that it's going to be scrapped off. It's definitely going to be scrapped off. So if you take away that, your employer equally is going to, most employers will pay for your flight, or some will tell you you pay for your flight and you're gonna get refunded. So it's still the same thing, like you're gonna get your money back, and they are also going to pay for your proper registration in the Nursing and Midwifery UK register. That is when you've come here already, you've had your OSCE, and you're ready to have your PIN as a registered nurse. They are going to pay that for you as well. So basically, this program is covered from beginning to end, like from beginning to end. It is basically covered. It is the most cheapest way and route of coming abroad to practice as a nurse that I have come across. So this is for everyone, guys. If you are a nurse, start thinking. This is for everyone. So that is it about the cost. That is it about the exams you have to write. If you've got any more questions, please drop a comment under the comment section, and I will be willing and ready to respond to all your questions. And I want to say thank you again for watching. Thank you for joining me on this second part of the series, and in the next series it's even gonna be more interesting, because as we go along, you're gonna see how you go, the step-by-step journey, which I'm going to cover in the next series. Like, if you've gone through your eligibility check, you've watched this next part of the series, you've known all the exams you need to take, what you need to know now is what next. So where do I go from here? And that's what I'm going to be talking about in the next series. So you really do not want to miss on the next series. As usual, share the video, subscribe, and encourage others to subscribe as well, and turn on your notification bell so that you shall be alerted when the next video or the next series is uploaded. Thank you so much, and stay blessed. Until we meet again, my name is Blessing.